Good morning everyone, welcome to another reading vlog. It's Sunday today. I didn't film anything yesterday just because I was editing all day and just had a really chill day, didn't really do much reading. I'm still reading The Water Cure. This book I feel is taking me a lot longer to read than it should. It's only like 250 pages but I just feel like I've been reading it forever, so I'm hoping to finish this one this morning. And then I'm not really sure what I'm going to pick up next. I think I may start reading the book club book that I mentioned in my last video, which is Milkman by Anna Burns. See how I get on with that. I've also seen that my library has it available in audiobook, so if I don't get along with the Kindle or the ebook version, then I can at least just whiz through it on the audiobook. It's a beautiful day out there today. The sun has finally arrived with us and it makes me so happy. I definitely feel like I get affected quite badly by the winter and shorter days. Like as soon as it starts getting light again and the flowers start blooming, literally it fills me with so much happiness. But then on the other end of summer, as soon as those days start getting shorter, I get this like impending like sadness knowing that like the summer is over. So I'm happy at the moment. Following the recent announcement here in the UK, it is looking like our wedding is going to be able to happen in July. Now it's just literally a couple of weeks away from the final stage, so our wedding is on July the 8th, so we're really hoping that all restrictions will have been lifted by then so that we can have all of the people we want at our wedding. We've got our fingers crossed, and I booked my wedding dress fitting this week, so that's going to be happening soon. I'm so excited now. I feel like it feels real now that we know that it will probably happen this year, whereas up until now we've kind of been like, well, it may not even happen, so all our fingers crossed, hopefully we'll all go to plan. So anyway, I'm just going to sit here and read a bit of The Water Cure, and then we're going to have a lovely day, probably go out for a walk, so I'll take you along to that. See you later. Since we last spoke, I got completely wrapped up in editing lots of videos for March and getting lots of stuff ready, and then when I came to update this vlog, my battery died. So here we are, we're now on Tuesday. So I finished The Water Cure on Sunday and I really enjoyed that one. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it, and the more I sit with it, the more kind of days that go by, I think I'm enjoying it more and more and thinking about it more. So yeah, very good book. I have since started listening to a new audiobook, A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. This one was voted on by my Instagram followers and I'm enjoying it so far. It's a contemporary fantasy with sirens and sprites and who knows what else at the moment. I'm only a few chapters in. I've also started reading the ebook of Anna Burns's Milkman. It's unusual so far. I definitely have to read it whilst I'm like really concentrating because otherwise I just get completely confused. None of the characters have actual names, like they're not referred to by their names, they're just referred to in how they are related to the main character. Yeah, as you can imagine, having that in your head, trying to keep hold of all that information when you haven't got people's names necessarily, I'm having to work harder and so reading it after work is a bit of a struggle sometimes. So I'll update you later. I've been shocking this week at updating you all, but to be fair, I've not been very good at reading this week. It's been really tough at work this week, and so I haven't been reading a lot in the evenings. In fact, all I've been managing to do is just listen to kind of short bursts of audiobooks because I just have struggled to be focusing on pages in books. But I finished listening to the audiobook of A Song Underwater last night and I really enjoyed it. It was a really good YA book. I haven't read anything YA in a really long time, and so this was a really nice reprieve, I think, from my normal reading. I think YA for me certainly is just a lot easier to consume. I really enjoyed all the characters. I loved the way the story was told. It had a really lovely balance between dealing with real life issues and then the fantasy issues that were being raised through the characters and the fantasy elements of it. So one of our main characters is a siren, and the other main character, there's something going on there. We don't quite know what she may or may not be and what kind of fantastical element there might be to her person. It was just a really nice coming of age story. These two girls finding out a lot about themselves, their bodies, dealing with like high school and boys and just all the other things that people have to deal with when you're kind of that age anyway. It was just really lovely and definitely something that kind of kept me feeling positive this week when it's been a little bit of a difficult week. So I've also got about 80% through Milkman by Anna Burns, and I actually swapped to listening to the audiobook of this one because I was just struggling with the book, and to be honest, I'm about 82% through the audiobook now and I might DNF it. I'm just not enjoying it at all. Although the place that it's set in isn't actually named, it's clearly based off of an Irish community. There's a lot of kind of paramilitary talk of renouncers of the state and bombs and things like going off, so to me that's what that is talking about. The thing that I'm finding a little bit annoying is the fact that she'll just talk for ages. Like the chapters, there's like basically no chapters, so there's no like real nice breaks between huge chunks of writing. Something will happen and then she'll talk around that for ages and go off on real random tangents and go for ages and ages, literally like 50 or more pages, and then suddenly you're back at that point and you're like, whoa, like so much has happened, and yet it's like just the main character thinking, and then we haven't even moved on in the story because we're now back at that point where we then went on that huge tangent. It's really bizarre. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'll push on with this one. Something I have though started listening to last night, and I might swap to reading the actual book of this one once I feel more capable of reading actual books. And that is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. That I'm really enjoying this one so far. The woman's voice is just beautiful, and it's really interesting because it's like a slam poetry, so it's a novel, but the main character discovers slam poetry, and so the whole book is told through poetry. I just think that's really clever, and I love listening to slam poetry. I've mentioned before on here that I'm not a big poetry reader, however listening to slam poetry, like I really love it. It really gets me like pumped up and like excited for what the person's talking about, and I feel like I take slam poetry in more than just reading like just regular poetry. Definitely excited to read more of that one. I've also got a little book haul. I can show you a book that I've received. So this one here is huge. It's Middlemarch by George Eliot. So you can see here I've tabbed it a little bit as well. So the lovely Kira over at Kira's Corner and Mary over at Mary Among Stories are doing a read-along for 6 weeks, so from March into the first few weeks of April. They've partitioned the book off so that you can deal with it in little chunks because it is just under 1,000 pages, Middlemarch, and they've got a Discord group and everything like that, so I'll link the video where both Mary and Kira mention the read along because I think it's going to be really fun. The Discord group has such a large array of people in it already from all over the world, which is so exciting. I'm a real big fan of reading large classics in a group setting because it's really nice to feel like you're doing it and you're accomplishing something with a group of people. I did the same with Anna Karenina a few years ago and really enjoyed doing that. So yes, I will link all of that down below, but I'm going to be starting that on Monday, so that's all very exciting. I hope my work will be slightly less stressful next week and I can get back to reading normally and just filming a little bit more. But I hope you've all had a really lovely week. Come and chat to me in the comments. I'd love to hear what you've been reading. What did you do for World Book Day? I didn't do much, but I'd love to hear down below. Come and have a chat. As always, I'll leave links to everything I've mentioned today down below, and I hope you're all having a fantastic day. See you soon. Bye.